Hi there, I'm Charlie and welcome to day 8 of Vlogmas. Today I'll be making some DIY Christmas cards. First things first, let's gather our supplies. And here they are. First up, we have a paper trimmer to do any of the large scale straight line cutting. We also have a pair of scissors and a corner cutter for any of the smaller, more detailed cuts. We have a range of different green and red pieces of cardstock. We have some pre-cut blank white cards with matching envelopes. I have my two different kinds of washi tape, as well as a few assorted stickers, glue tape, tweezers, and a white gel pen. And finally, I have my Tombow dual point brush markers. Now that I've showed you all the pieces we're going to work with, I think it's time to bring out the second camera and get to work. Let's jump into it. For our first card, I thought it would be fun to make a layered effect. So I have pre-cut 3 different sized pieces of green card. In order to assemble this card, we need to glue the layers together and of course fold it in half. I think we should fold each piece in half individually first, and that'll help with the placement when it comes time to glue them together. Let's start with the biggest piece. Now that we've folded the first card, we'll do the same to the others. Now that all 3 elements have been folded, it's time to start gluing them together. Having pre-folded these center creases gives us something to work off when it comes to gluing. I'll be attaching each piece of cardstock with this glue tape. Let's start from the biggest piece upwards. So we'll need to apply glue all over the back of this middle-sized piece, and then we can press it down. Now that our second layer has been attached to the first, it's time to add on the third layer. And there we have a nice, simple, multi-layered card. Of course, being cardstock, it is quite a thick card. It is very sturdy and has plenty of room to write important messages and even to decorate further. Before we call this one finished though, I do have a sticker that I want to add to the cover. I found this wreath inspired sticker in my collection and I'm going to put it here on the center of the page. Unfortunately, it does have a white border, which in a perfect world I wouldn't want there, so I am going to try and trim it back a little bit with scissors first. While this is obviously not a perfect cutout, I think it looks pretty good. I just like to use my tweezers to help remove the backing off the sticker because I find it a little bit easier. And now I'm just going to apply that to the center of the card. I'd say card 1 is almost finished, but I do think it needs a seasonal message on the front. So I'm just using the pen side of the Tombow brush in 847, and I think for this one I'm gonna go with Season's Greetings. And with that, our first card is done. Let's jump into the second one. And now we're going to work on our second card. For this one, I thought it might be nice to do a card with a little bit more shape. So I have here a piece of pink cardstock that I've already cut to be 12 by 6 inches, so that when we fold it in half, it's going to be a perfect square. And this is going to become the basis of our Christmas present card. So at the moment, it's basically just a box. In order to turn it into a Christmas present, we're gonna need some ribbon and we're gonna need a bow. I thought it might be nice to use some of the offcuts from my previous cards so that we're not wasting paper. I like this combination because it's got a kind of watermelon vibe. I also like these pieces because they're long enough for us to attach the bow to. So first of all, I'm going to trim these with the paper cutter so they're the same thickness. To help me with the placement, I've made a few marks with my scissors just over where the ribbon is going to go. So I think the best strategy at this point is going to do our crossways pieces of cardstock ribbon first and then our vertical because we'll need to add the bows to them. Again, we'll just be attaching with the standard glue. I've let it go over the edges a little because that's going to help me mark on the other side and then I'm going to trim off the excess. Now we have our cross line finished, we're going to attach our verticals. I might end up trimming this, but for the moment I'm going to leave it as is. And that is our base ribbon done. I'm going to pop this to the side for the moment while we start working on our bow. I've sketched and trimmed out this little half template of a bow. This might seem a little bit odd, but bear with me, I have an idea. I've just temporarily glued this onto a folded piece of card, and I'm going to cut around this and just alter it a little as I go to try and make a bow template. Moment of truth. Honestly, not that bad. Okay. Now that I've cut out my rough bow outline, I am going to back it in a darker green and make it a little bit larger and make a mirrored one for the back. So let's come back once I've done that. Turns out I didn't actually have enough green to do the front and back. So instead, I'm just gonna go with the one bow, and I have added a few extra details to try and make it look a little bit more like an actual ribbon that's been tied up. Next, we're going to glue this onto the stem of the horizontal ribbon line we added earlier. Now that I have placed it onto the stem, I'm going to add some glue below the ribbon. Now that our gift has been all wrapped up, I think it needs a gift tag. And with that little tag, I would say that our second card is done. So this one is our last card made completely from scratch. All of the others will at least incorporate the pre-made cards. So let's get ready for card number 3. And for our third card, we're going to be adding a colored inlay. So in the same method that we did the multi-layer green cardstock card, we are going to be making an inlay for this pre-made card using the red cardstock. First of all, we're gonna have to trim it down because obviously it's much bigger than the card currently. Now that I've opened up the ruler on my paper trimmer, this is gonna make this a lot easier. Firstly, I'm going to open up our card and measure the height and width. And now we will cut the paper smaller than that to work with. I am using the empiric side of this measuring tape because it's the side closest to me, and I don't know the official name of parts of an inch, but as the original card was 8.2 inches long, I'm going to take 0.4 off. I will also do that for the height. The height was 2 below 6, so now it will be 2 above 5. And if we line that up, we'll see that it's got the same amount of distance available around all the edges. So as we did before, I'm going to fold this in half to help with the placement and then glue it into place. Now that I have glued the base on, you'll notice that I didn't glue the entire piece as one, and that's because it's going on the inside this time. I wanted to, instead of laying it flat and folding it, I'm going to apply the glue now and then shut the card. I'm hoping this will help keep it to the actual shape it needs to be. So the inlay is in and it looks great, but I do think this card needs a little more before we can call it done. With that said, I think it's time that we grab out some washi tape. Because this is obviously red and white, I've grabbed out these 2 washi tapes that I think will complement it. We have this lovely floral red, white, and green tape, and this red tape that says Merry Christmas with a star. I'm going to start with the washi tape on the outside of the card. Now that I've laid this cross section, I'm just going to trim it down, and now I'm just going to add a line of the Merry Christmas as well. So now that we have a little bit of decoration on the front, I just want to add one more sticker and then we're going to add some washi to the inside. I thought it might be nice to use these holly stickers to add some holly to the card. So I think that's all the details I'm going to add to the front, and we're just going to add a tiny bit more to the inside. There we go. So that's a wrap on card number 3. Let's jump into card number 4. For card number 4, I thought we might attempt to do some cutouts. So what I'm going to do is cut out certain sections of the white card and have them filled in by adding in some of the cardstock to the inside of the card. I thought it might be really cool to try and do a Christmas tree cutout. And much as it sounds, I will be literally cutting out the shape of half of a Christmas tree so that if the card was fully open, it would show a full tree. Wish me luck. So I first just cut some slits into the paper to show us our basic tree shape. Now, rather than outright cutting out the entire tree, I'm cutting it out in slivers so that there's still some semblance of structural integrity for the card itself. Okay, now we have our basic Christmas tree cutout. Obviously at this stage, it's not much of a Christmas tree. And so I think the first thing we need to do to fix that is to make the inlay. So I've just tested the inlay and I think that these holes need to be bigger. So let's fix that first. So now I think it's time to glue this down. I'm gonna start with just the edges and we'll work up from there. I just realized I shouldn't have added glue here, but it's kind of too late, so oh well. Look at that. All right, we're gonna do a similar principle on the front as we did with the last one. Okay, now the inlay is glued in, though apparently not symmetrically. That's okay, this is my first attempt at doing any kind of card cutout like this. And now it's time to decorate the tree. This little sticker almost perfectly matches one of the felt presents that we made with the wall tree, as does that one. All the designs match actually. That's pretty cool. Even the baubles match, I only just noticed. I think the last thing it needs is a star. And there we have our Christmas tree cutout card finished. Admittedly, it does look a little dodgy, but I'm still pretty happy with it. So that is card number 4 done. Let's jump to card number 5. For card number 5, I thought it might be fun just to use a combination of the die cut stickers and the washi stickers to just decorate however the mood takes us. I also really want to use this little penguin, so I think he's going to be our inspiration. Let's stick him on. Alright, we have a little Christmas penguin. Let's find some tapes that we think might go with it. First, I'm going to do a border around the card in this tape. I'm going to swap it out on the top row for this matching Merry Christmas tape that we used earlier. Okay, now I'm going to trim down all of those tapes. Isn't it cute? I'm also going to put in one of these die cut Christmas stockings, some of which, by the way, also match the felt wall tree. And we need to add a Father Christmas to the inside of the card. And then to keep him happy, I've got some friends for him to go across the bottom. And with that, number 5 is done. I do have one final DIY card to share with you guys, so let's jump into that now. For our 5th and final card, we are going to be making a super simple custom photo card. So I had this idea that I really wanted to make custom photo Christmas cards to send out to my friends and family, but when I started researching them, they were crazy expensive. So instead, Ian, myself, and the cats took our own photo and got it printed at Officeworks for 15 cents a piece. And we've trimmed it down and we're just going to simply glue it to the front of the card using glue tape. I apologize about the light change. I had to plug in my camera, I'm sorry. But here is the card with us and our cats and our tree and our Christmas plushies all ready to be sent out to my friends and family. So this is our final card for today's video. So with that said, let's get this camera out of the way and I can show you everything I've worked on. And there we have it. Those were my 6 DIY Christmas cards. I had so much fun making these, and honestly, a lot of them turned out much better than I was expecting. I'm really excited to actually get into writing and posting out my Christmas cards this year. I know that to some, making and sending Christmas cards is somewhat of a lost art, but I've been really excited seeing the growing popularity of handmade cards online again. Let me know in the comments below whether you're gonna send out Christmas cards this year, and if so, will you be making them? And if you do decide to make them, maybe one of these ideas here will help you. Let me know if it does. With all that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more Vlogmas coming this month. I hope you're having an amazing day and I can't wait to see you all soon. Bye!